For those of you that don't know me, I'm Gary Fryermood, Sergeant at Arms at Post 487. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. It's wonderful seeing this many people. I'm amazed. Must be half the town here. Little quick history, just to get started here before I announce our chaplain. About a year ago, our commander, Mr. Kinsey, started on getting some new names for our monument here, our deceased veterans. And we started a committee to find more people that deserve to be on our plaque. So we had a couple of local historians, Clancy Carroll and Paul Jenkins, came up with quite a list for us. So we just kept on going from there. Jim Ohm would be another one. Tim DeChant. Myself, which I don't know much, but I tried. So we started that committee and came up with all these new names. And then we kind of appointed me as the triangle officer, which I gladly took. And so here we are now, a year later, and we've come quite a ways. And I'd like to thank all of those you people that donated to this cause. Bunch of construction outfits from the area: Rick Gruhl, Mark Rasmussen, Sean Stolarczyk with Red Septic, Kenny Greenwood with the cement, John Burho did our electrical for our lights, Todd's Ready Mix brought cement, Solon Springs Ready Mix cement, and here we are now. And had a lot of people help the time we put our flags up, pouring cement for the foundations for those flags. A lot of manual labor, and I see a lot of people here that helped with that, and thank you very much for all of that. I think what I'll do now is I'll introduce our chaplain, Lewis Hawley, and he'll give an opening prayer.
Turn up the microphone, Gary.
Turn it up. You do that.
You gotta turn it up just a little bit.
Turn it up.
The technicians are very important today. Thank you. As American Legion chaplain on behalf of Post 487, looking around here, you have blessed us this morning. Thank you so much for your presence, because it means a lot to us. Let's bow our heads in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask your blessing upon this memorial dedication service. For us today, this represents sacred ground as we honor those men and women, comrades of our armed forces, those names that are represented here, those who lay down their lives in defense of our country for the freedom that we enjoy today. We are blessed with a rich and beautiful land for our heritage because they answered the call to duty. Dear Heavenly Father, as we stand here today, let this memorial be a testimony to keep us ever mindful of their sacrifice. Your word, Lord, reminds us that greater love has no one than this, that one lay his life down for his friends. Lord, we ask your blessing today. We are thankful for your providence and for their service and the freedom that they have entrusted to us in our keeping. We pray this in Christ's name. Amen. The introduction is the commander of Post 487, James Kinsey. If you please come forward, Jim.
Thank you, Louis. Well, obviously, you know who I am. I'm Jim Kinsey. If you're able, would you please stand at this time? The UCC Church and St. Anne's Catholic Church of Cable will sing the national anthem. Please place your hands over your hearts. Soldiers, attention. Present arms. Order. Arms. Please be seated. Once again, I'd like to welcome you on behalf of Post 487 and myself to this dedication ceremony. I am so happy and so proud to see so many of our members of the community here today. I believe that many things will be talked about today, so I decided that a short history on how we got here might be in order. When I say short history, I mean short history. For the addended 397-page history of how we got here today, please find that at the American Legion hidden somewhere in a cabinet. 5 years ago, I became commander of Post 487. It was brought to my attention by Paul and Jim Jenkins, both twisting my arm, that our Veterans Memorial only included the names of our Legion members and not the names of all of the veterans from our area. It was their belief that all of our veterans should be recognized, not just a few. I told them, boys, if you want this done, I'm going to need a list. And they said, all right, we'll take care of it. So this got me thinking about the memorial. I came up here, took a look, and what I realized that, yep, we were missing many names of veterans who'd passed away. We were fast running out of space on the existing plaques to put those names once we got them. And we would need a lot of individual nameplates and the large brass plaques to mount them on. Did I mention that this was COVID and that we didn't have any money? Our first priority was to get our Post 487 members who had passed away their nameplates. And we had quite a group. In the process of doing this, I had my first meeting with Julie Firemoon, who had a very, as I told her, long-range vision for a much improved Memorial Triangle. I loved it, but we had two problems. We had no money, and we didn't own the triangle. So doing major improvements to it didn't make a whole lot of sense unless we owned it. Enter my adjutant, George Knapp, attorney at law. I talked him into becoming adjutant, promising that I would only make him do the minutes. George took on the project of legally getting us the triangle property in our name. One of the first things he found out is that the town of Cable said they don't own it. They told us to talk to Bayfield County. Bayfield County said, we don't own it. Talk to the town of Cable. Over the next 2 years, George was able to convince the town of Cable and the county, even though they rather thought that nobody owned it, that they should own it and to sign over the rights of it to us. Finally, the triangle became legally ours. I'm sure George would tell you that this project was not as easy as I'm making it sound. By now, I had been given a very large list of area veterans by Paul Jenkins that needed to be added to the memorial. I realized that we weren't looking at one new bronze plaque, we needed 3. Did I mention that we had no money? So we decided to raise some funds. We started out small. We did a pancake feed for the Rumble on the Lake. We did a pig roast, putting all the money toward nameplates. And then, there's more in between, but we're going to move on. An amazing thing happened. The Rumble came forward and handed us $5,000 for a nameplate, a bronze plaque. To say we were flabbergasted was an understatement. So, of course, now that that had happened, the auxiliary came forward. $5,000, another bronze plaque. Sons of the Legion came forward. $5,000, another bronze plaque. I didn't know they all had so much money. At this point, we're looking at the flags. I'm looking at Julie's long-range plan, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, sometimes you need to get out of the way, and you need to let people go. So, I suggested at the meeting that we make Gary Fairmood Triangle Officer. One of the smartest moves I ever made. Because when you're commander, you really don't need to do everything. Let other people do it. And when I put Gary and Julie completely in charge, I said, you don't have to ask me. Just do what you want. I'll back you. Boy, did they. To say they took this and ran with it is an understatement. How our community came together to help them, to donate for them, is just something that all of us can be so thankful for, so proud of. And I cannot tell you how proud I am to stand here today and see everything they have done, and how proud I am of what they have done, even though I haven't a clue what Julie's going to do now. Once again, there are no words that truly say what Gary and Julie and all of you, every one of you who showed up out here to shovel dirt, to rake, to help pour, to give your equipment, to buy cement. It's just unbelievable what we did in this small town with this triangle. Thank you so very much. And now, I'm not supposed to have to introduce Julie, but I'm introducing Julie.
Well, seeing as long as my husband forgot to introduce me when he was standing up here, my name is Julie Fairmood. Oh, strike one. Oh, like everyone has said, thank you so very much for being here. And with all the phone calls that were made, all the emails that were sent out, speaking to people face to face, just so very proud and thankful, honored for the work that all of you also have done in your own way. Gary and I truly appreciate it. And for us to be able to do this for our veterans is even more important, and their families and our community. So thank you very much for that. We really appreciate it. Based on some of the things that Jim said and some of the things that Gary said, just want to let you know that we had over 200 donors. There were quite a few that donated more than once. With the nameplates that Jim had mentioned, I believe we had over 50 people that stepped up and sponsored or purchased a nameplate for the veterans that are no longer with us. Let's see what else. I think that's it on that part. I would like to, at this time, I'm sorry for the surprise on this for some people, but I felt it was important. You may see some of the lovely brown tarps that are hanging over there. Yesterday they were white sheets, so today they're tarps. These are storyboards that have been mounted onto the 4x4s, and each one is different. They are two-sided, so if you look at them from the roadside, they're going to be different on the inside also. So when the time comes, towards the end of the ceremony here, we're going to ask everyone, if able, to please walk around the corner, and we're going to unveil them from the side. And then feel free to walk around and look at them. One of the boards, I should say the board that is in the middle, is a board that was done in honor of our fallen heroes. And I know today that we have a few family members here that I contacted, and so surprised that some showed up that I didn't know were coming. So I would like to read off that well, of course I'm going to acknowledge 9 of the 17 fallen heroes from our area communities whose family members are here with us today. These young men who bravely served our country between World War II and the Vietnam era will be acknowledged on the storyboards, as I said, towards the end of the ceremony. I will read off the 9 names very quickly here. And for the family members that are here, of the young men that I'm mentioning, when I'm done mentioning their names, if you wouldn't mind standing, I would really appreciate it. The first person is student aviator in the U.S. Navy Reserves, Joseph A. Brady. Private Adolph E. Whitwer, Jr. Tech 5, Ernest S. Whitwer. Petty Officer Dugald Bruce McLean, Jr. Master Sergeant James W. Rondo. Captain Richard J. Masnio. Private Donald C. Hansen. Private Gerald P. Lewandowski. Private First Class Melvin Bing W. Gunderson. If the family members of these young men are here, would you please stand? Thank you. You may be seated. Unfortunately, I was not able to get a hold of the other young men for their families of the other young men. So if you are here, when I get done reading these names, my apologies. I did not know that you're going to be here. Staff Sergeant Theodore J. Mishevitz, Seaman First Class Robert H. Fleming, Friends of Warrant Officer Peter P. Pollock, Petty Officer Third Class Lawrence A. Symington, Staff Sergeant Richard O. Josephson, Private First Class Ernest L. Alexander, Private Axel J. Miller, and Staff Sergeant Donald E. Liebman. Are there any family members here of those individuals? I would also like to acknowledge a few special guests that are here. First of all, we have our Bayfield County Veterans Service Officer. I'm going to find him. Kevin Johnson is here with us today. Kevin's in the back with the St. Bernard. In case you haven't heard, Kevin is retiring, and we'd like to thank him for his years of service for our veterans in Bayfield County. So thank you, Kevin. We also have a special guest that has joined us today that just happens to be 101 years old and is our oldest living World War II veteran who drove all the way with his friend, and he's here with his family today to be a part of this with us. I'd like to introduce you to, what was your rank, Bob? I don't remember your rank, I'm sorry. Infantry Sergeant Bob Nagel, and he was in the infantry World War II. Thank you, Bob. Just raise your hand. You just raise your hand. Bob was our 2024 Grand Marshal in the 4th of July Parade and has been a member of the American Legion for over 75 years. Only 75 years. So thank you very much for your service and thanks for being here with us. Thank you. I'm just going to throw this out here because I'm not sure if this individual is here. I did make a phone call, so I don't know if the person's here. Is Pat Johnson here? Pat Johnson. Jean and Pat Johnson. Okay. The reason why I mentioned that name is because she was the granddaughter of James Stokes. And our Legion is called Stokes Liebman, Post 487. And she surprised us with a visit when Gary and I and Rick Earl were out here, and she showed up here, and so her grandfather was World War I. So, and I believe her dad's name was also James Stokes. So I just wanted to see if she was here. Okay, and then I want to just point out at this time, in case you don't hear me say this later, I'm hoping there aren't any errors on our donor board. And I put the donor board together. I did the best I could as to recording things. If I overlooked your name, I did not include your name, will you please let me know? My plan is we've received a few donations since the donor board was made, and we're going to add an additional little plaque that will attach onto the 4x4 along the side of the donor board. So if there is an error, please let me know after the ceremony. Okay, moving on. On the back side of your program, too, I just want to point out real quick that there is a list of the individuals that helped us this past week and really gone to town as to running errands. I would also like to add to the list, thank you to Lakewoods for the use of the golf cart today. So if you do need a ride to your vehicle, it's a 4-seater, right, Ray? So our taxi man's in the front seat here in the blue uniform. And thank you to Paul and Carol Radloff this week also for helping with the signs and getting those installed. Again, thank you so very much, everyone. Okay, yes, I am organized today. I thought I was. All right. Introducing our special guest for today. Gary, would you like to come up and do that?
I would love to.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Sorry I babbled.
In case you didn't know it, and I'm sure you do by now, Julia was a teacher. And I was just a lowly septic system installer. I'm not a good speaker. Our special guest today is Lieutenant Colonel Mark Mackey. He attended school for many years in Ashland, and after graduating from Northland College in 1988, he worked as a biologist for the National Park Service and then joined the Marines in 1990. Mark served in the Marines as an infantry officer for 23 years and retired in 2013. His list of military accomplishments are many, but his real-world operations include Desert Storm, 1992 Los Angeles riots, counter-narcotic operations in U.S.-Mexico border, Somalia, Operation Iraqi Freedom, and Operation Enduring Freedom. Lieutenant Colonel Mackey was also a firing member of the Marine Corps rifle and pistol teams, traveling the country enrolled for competitions. During these travels, Mark and the Marines under his charge represented not just the U.S. Marines, but the United States of America when overseas. For the last 7 years of his career, he was the one and only regular officer with double distinguished marksman designation in the entire Marine Corps. His personal decorations include Combat Action Ribbon, the Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal with a V for specific valor under enemy fire, and the Bronze Star. Upon retirement, Mark moved to Alaska for over a year to experience true wilderness and isolation. He was a subject of an episode of HGTV's Living Off the Grid. He's a member of the American Legion and a life member of the VFW. Mark currently serves as the president of a national nonprofit organization called Bamboo Bend Handcrafted Healing that teaches wounded veterans to build split bamboo fly rods as part of their healing process. Everyone, please welcome Lieutenant Colonel Mark Mackey.
Whoa, that was close.
Most people would call that a rock. Marines call it a field expedient paperweight. Thank you for that introduction, Gary. Can everybody hear me in the back? I know the closer it gets, the louder it gets, but I don't want to blast your eardrums out. And thank you for asking me to be here today. This really is a true honor. I know all the enlisted men and women in the audience are thinking, great, another colonel with a microphone. I promise I'll be brief. Commander, you set a great tone. But before I start, I want to answer a couple quick questions here. First, the uniform. One of the benefits you get when you retire is you get to keep your uniform and wear it as long as you maintain the height, weight, and grooming standards, which not everybody chooses to do. So I'm still pretty active. I've been retired for 12 years and I can still do it, so I do it. There's also some rules, when and where you can wear it, and the various uniforms, and certainly places and things you can't do when you're in uniform, because you don't want to bring discredit to your uniform or the military or the country. Second, the ribbons. To the members of the audience who have not served in the military, the easiest way to explain it, it's a color-coded language, if you will, to explain where you've been and what you've done in your military service. Some are personal decorations, some are unit awards, and some are campaign ribbons. In simple terms, the longer you serve, the more things you do and the more things you get recognized for. So I was lucky in my career. I happened to be in the right place at the right time a bunch of times, and so that's why I have the war salad, as it's called. Okay, my thing's not working. Yeah, I might need it. I'll also point out something that Gary mentioned in that introduction. Yes, I was deployed to the Los Angeles riots of 1992. And I think most people didn't even know or have forgotten that active duty Marines were deployed from Camp Pendleton. There's about 1,000 of us to Los Angeles after the Rodney King verdict was read, and things went bad quickly. We were deployed there to assist overwhelmed law enforcement agencies restore peace to a very large metropolitan area. It was my first real-world deployment as a Marine, and a real eye-opener for this small-town boy from northern Wisconsin. A week or so after the riots started, we entered the city just as night was falling. It was total chaos. And I will never forget, as we rolled into the city, it was just getting dark, how the skies glowed orange from the hundreds and hundreds of huge building fires that roared completely out of control. Yes, ironically, there are active duty Marines standing there right now. The missions differ greatly, though. When I was there, it was at the request of the governor of the state of California and the approval of the president of the United States, and martial law had been declared, and that's significant. And incidentally, that was only the 65th time that martial law had been declared on U.S. soil ever, and I believe it was also the last time it was declared. It has not been declared there now. We were there for about 2 weeks and then returned to Camp Pendleton, again at the request of the governor and approval of the commander-in-chief. And I can tell you that the crime rate had never been so low, nor will it ever be again, as when armed combat Marines guarded the streets of Los Angeles. Okay, we're here today to dedicate this park. I got a sneak peek at the placard that Julie mentioned, and I looked at the names and the dates and the hometowns of those fallen heroes on the various placards back there, and it dawned on me how disproportionate the number is compared to other communities in this region. To me, and I hope to everybody else, that speaks volumes of this area's patriotism and commitment to our American way of life. These men and women gave their lives so that we may live ours in peace and freedom. And we can never forget these men and women who gave everything they had and everything they were ever going to have while serving in the military. In the course of my 23-year career, I had a handful, just a handful. I had a great career, but I had a handful of really bad days on foreign soil. Days that resulted in placards just like these, but in places far from here. For a long, long time, years, which is some of what I did in Alaska, as Gary mentioned, I tried so desperately to forget those days and those names and those faces, but somewhere along the journey of my struggles to erase those memories, I realized that, first of all, it's impossible to forget, and that forgetting would be a complete dishonor to those Marines who died so bravely doing something that they wanted to do. And I emphasize wanted because today and then we are a volunteer force. And places like this help us in that endeavor. And now I choose to remember to honor them by never forgetting. And that's what this park is all about, never forgetting. And I'm a better man for it. And I hope this park makes us feel better, all in our own ways. This park is intended to be a place of peace and quiet and solitude, perfect for silent reflection and somber remembrance. As a military marksman, I can attest that you've hit a bullseye on this one. And I know the men on those placards behind me would approve. In closing, a personal thank you to all who had a hand in making this park a reality. I know firsthand that creating something like this is not easy. You honor not only your fallen families, friends, and neighbors, but those who have served and are currently serving, and you help us heal. Thank you so very much for asking me to be here today and to say these few humble words to dedicate this beautiful park. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce the Town of Cable Chairman, Jamie Hawley. And you can use my paperweight. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. This is not on my notes, but when I was asked to do this, never knew I'd follow somebody like you. So thank you, sir, for your commitment to our country and your dedication. Thank you. I have my own paperweight, but it's like a clip here, so let's hang on a second. So, my name is Jamie Hawley, and I have the honor to serve as your Town of Cable Chairman. I'm deeply honored and humbled to say a few words here today. I did not personally serve in the military, but I do have a rich history of service members in my family. Starting with my great-great-grandfather, Floyd Hawley, a veteran of the Civil War. My grandfather, Howard James, served in the U.S. Army. My uncle, Bob James, served in the U.S. Air Force. My great-uncle, Harold Hawley, served in the U.S. Army. My father, Lewis Hawley, served in the Wisconsin Army National Guard. My cousin Bob Hawley served in the U.S. Army in Germany. And I'm the proud father of Ryan Hawley. Who served in our Wisconsin Army National Guard as a crew member of 13 Bravo Field Artillery Cannon. Since I was young, this triangle has always stood as a quiet, steady reminder of our veteran sacrifices. I remember attending services here as a Boy Scout when it was a simple place. A few monuments, flags, and for many years, little changed. So when I heard about the planned upgrades to the memorial, I thought, well, that'll be nice. Mrs. Fryermood will be taking it over. But I could never imagine what it would become here today. The thought, the care, the planning that went into this transformation is extraordinary. Not only with the design, but the countless hours of research to ensure every veteran is remembered. So when I was approached last winter about including some of the curbing you see here today as part of the project, I was committed to help. However, town government does not work under the blessing of the chairman. But I was pleased when I presented it to the town board, and Gary and Julie also were there to present it to the town board, that they unanimously supported the project and committed to contributing however we could. Not only was the town board committed, but since we have County Highway M behind us, we needed the okay from the highway commissioner as well, Jake Benson. He was just as eager to help with the curbing, the paint, and the signage, and everything was okayed. This newly enhanced memorial sets our town apart, and especially our veterans, in a way that we've never seen before. It's a powerful statement to everyone passing by on the highway, and a testament to what vision, dedication, and strong sense of community can achieve when we all come together. Finally, I'd like to just sincerely thank every member of this community, and also those outside of the community,
that helped put this in to what we see today, whether through monetary donations, time, talents, or equipment during the construction. A special thank you to Gary and Julie for your vision, your leadership, and your dedication to this memorial. And most importantly, thank you to those who have served and those who continue to serve our great country. We are extremely grateful for your sacrifices. Thank you. And now our choir members will sing for us America the Beautiful.
Thank you very much, the UCC Church and St. Anne's Catholic Church choirs. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce our next speaker, the Director of the Cable Area Chamber of Commerce, Heather Ludzak.
Thank you, Gary. Hello, everybody. Those of you who know me will be very happy that I did write something, and I will not just be talking. I'm very honored to speak today on this beautiful and reverent occasion in the presence of true heroes. As a child who spent summers growing up right across the street, I remember playing here and running my fingers over the names. Some names I recognized, but only from hearing my grandparents, aunts, uncles talk about friends, heroes, sons lost, including my mother's classmate who died in Vietnam. Now it includes so many more. My own family, great uncles, my nephew, and many friends who have served our country with honor. When I lived right here behind us and looked out over this beautiful space through my windows for almost 20 years, it was a sense of honor and peace, and a few panicked phone calls to Commander Dave Hanks after a particular storm or two where the poles either came down or the flags were broken and ripped. I would usually just send Larry out to pick the flags up. I won't say that I did it myself, but it was an honor to live here and look at this. But now we have this beautiful space that is deserving of our veterans. As the director of the Cable Area Chamber of Commerce, serving Drummond, Grandview, Nemacolin, and Cable, we look at investments in the beautification of our town as enhancing the beauty that is already here, and this new space will be enjoyed by our locals and visitors alike. Reading you a list of donors would be meaningless in comparison to reading all the names that have been added to these walls of honor, but you can read those in your program. And I can say on behalf of our whole community, thank you to those who contributed in any amount. It all made a difference. This was a labor of love, and no more so than Gary and Julie Fryermuth, who don't really like to be acknowledged, but too bad. Their passion for this project was unwavering, and as Commander Kinsey said, the community came together. I got a message from Julie one night that said, "So, I have this little project." And a few texts and a few phone calls and a few Facebook posts later, and it just kept snowballing, but driven by Julie and Gary's passion for this project and the support of the American Legion and the Legion Auxiliary and Sons. The overwhelming support of our community for this project is just a small way to acknowledge and give our humble thanks for the service and sacrifice of our military veterans. Now our future generations, long after we are all gone, and many of you here today will be added to these monuments, will also have an opportunity to admire this beautiful tribute to our local heroes, never to be forgotten. We thank all of you who have served so selflessly, and to those who have served and gone before us. With sincere and unwavering appreciation, we thank you forever.
What's next? I'll let her do the talking.
Thank you. If you are following the program, we're on number 11. And, and I just want to say thank you at this point for the kind words from our guest speakers today as to what Gary and I has started working on back in August of this last year. And again, everyone that's been involved in this project, we are a team. It's not just Gary and myself. It's a team that got this done, and we truly appreciate it once again. Everyone is invited to Post 487 for food and beverages after the ceremony. When we are done with the unveiling around the corner here, the barricades are going to be moved. So when you leave the parking lot area, you will be allowed to drive down Randy Seck Road here instead of everybody trying to go around through Main Street and get across the road and so on. So just to let you know that. And also Ray's Taxi will be available.
Go from Coast Guard to taxi. About the same, right?
If you wouldn't mind, I was just thinking about this because I was looking through the crowd here, and I know I have former students that are here that are military. I know the community members that are military, and from looking at some of the hats in the crowd, I can tell that there are other military members here. I'm not going to make you stand, but if you wouldn't mind just raising your hand, just acknowledge, and if you'd like to stand up, you're more than welcome. But anyone that has served our country, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Someone said the other day, I saw it on the internet, and it said instead of saying thank you for your service, to say to a veteran, thank you for our freedom. And I thought, boy, that really says it. It's a different way to look at it. It's so easy to say thank you for your service, but again, thank you for our freedom. All right, at this time, unless you'd have something to say, dear?
I think we're good. Oh, this is my wife, if you didn't know. Julia.
We're going to walk around. If the guys over here wouldn't mind bring your chairs with you. So for anyone that needs to sit, shouldn't take much more than 10, 15 minutes at the most around the corner. But if you can bring your chairs, and anyone that needs to sit, we'll put the chairs in the front. And if you see the lovely electric box right there, if you want to stand right in line with that on the street, we would appreciate it at this time. Okay, any questions, anyone? Okay, thank you. We wanted to thank the Bottom Line News and Views paper for helping cover this event. Budweiser for our banner down there on the corner. The Cable Area Chamber of Commerce for helping promote this event. Steve and Jeannie Dixon, who live across the street here, let us use 3 sections of their hose to try to water the grass. So thank you for that, Steve and Jeannie. Cable Area Lions Club, really appreciate the use of the chairs today. And the church as well. We have some of their chairs. So thank you for those. Justin Barnes, thank you for helping Gary move the benches. Penny Dolby, who's the bookkeeper at Post 487, made a lot of trips to visit her. James Ness Photography. James and Lenore are here today from Hayward, and we thank them so much for recording and taking pictures for us. The Town of Cable, thank you so much.